A few minutes later, after Lynn's talk with Marcus, the Potage heard the front door being opened and closed, and he saw Lenny pass by the dining room entrance with a happy look on her face, while Rita had a look of relief. The mother looked towards her husband. "Lynn, how's—" She paused, noting the troubled look on Lynn's face. "Is something wrong?" "A couple of things, actually," Lynn replied, putting her dinner in the oven to be cooked. "How long do you want, the version or the short one?" "Does it involve Lincoln?" The father nodded, making Rita's breath hitch a little. "With long version, then." "So I was cooking dinner when the phone started ringing, and I answered it. It turned out to be Mr. Santiago. It seems that Lincoln finally told them about what really happened. I thought I already did when we found out that where he was staying, but they never called the house before. In short, Mr. Santiago threatened to pulverize me if we don't make it up to Lincoln, or at least I think he did." Half of what he said was in Spanish. The father leaned in towards the counter. "It's been almost a week since Lincoln left, and we haven't talked to him since. He probably thinks we don't care about him." While Lynn Sr. was talking, Lenny came back downstairs to grab a smoothie before another sibling meeting was about to start. The blonde was just about to walk into the kitchen when she heard her parents in what seemed to be a serious discussion. Not wanting to interrupt, the fashionist was about to walk back to her and Lori's room when the mention of Lincoln reached her ears. Keeping her out of view, she peeked at her parents from behind the wall. "Sweetie, if Lincoln really thought that, then he wouldn't be giving us a second chance. We're already skating on thin ice here." "Yes, but he probably cares more about his sisters than us. I mean, he's already forgiven the twins. I just feel that it would be a while before he even thinks about forgiving us." Rita hummed for a moment. "I want to call Lincoln throughout the day, but every time I did, I just get nervous and froze. I'm not sure how he'd react to one of us hearing him talk again. At this point, I finally get the courage to actually dial his number, but he didn't answer. I'm just hoping that next time I try calling, he doesn't hang up on the phone." She thought about her daughters, who seemed to be in better spirits, all except one. "Call it a mother's tuition, but I think if anyone will have the hardest time making it up to Lincoln, it would be Junior. She's been like Lucy ever since this whole thing began. She's taken it harder than the rest of us. Seeing while we all had our driving our son away, she got into a fight with him and said some harsh words." She sat on one of the chairs at the table. "I know it's going to be weird speaking to Lincoln again, but it seems that Lynn is fearful of him, even though she said he didn't hurt her like last time they saw each other." The Potage nodded in agreement. "I thought she was getting better since she looked like herself last night, but today it felt like she got worse. If this keeps up, I'm not sure what we're gonna do." Lynn then looked at the oven for a moment. "Maybe I could whip up something Lincoln really likes. No offense, honey, but I think it's going to take more than food to convince Lincoln to forgive us for something. This is unforgivable, especially after the fact that he almost became gator chow." The man grimaced. "Don't remind me." At this point, Lenny believed she heard enough. Giving a sad frown, she walked back upstairs, and when she got to her room, Lenny saw most of her sisters had been waiting patiently for her to return. Lori was slightly annoyed that Lenny decided to go grab a drink right when they were about to start. The 17-year-old was more displeased, seeing her sister didn't have her smoothie in her hand. "Lenny, I thought you said you were going to get your big sibling meeting smoothie." "I was, but I heard Mom and Dad talking in the kitchen. They aren't exactly happy right now." "I'm not surprised, but this part of the whole reason is why we're having this meeting," the eldest stated. "Okay, before we call this meeting in order, Lucy, are you sure that Lynn doesn't want to join us?" The black-haired child nodded. "Trust me, I tried coaxing her out of it, but she is solid as a rock. Not even a meatball sub will remove her from the bed." Lori sighed. "Great." She banged one of her shoes on the nightstand. "So the reason this meeting is due to what Dad told us about just moments ago. Mr. Santiago just literally chewed out Dad on the phone, which means Lincoln will likely knows where he is." The other sister, Sans Luan, grew nervous. Well, so much for trying to keep it on the down low, Luna spoke out. Does this mean Linky's gonna run away again? Lola asked in fear. That's a possibility. However, seeing that this is the first time Mr. and Mrs. Santiago called them about a board of this matter, it should stand to reason that Lincoln just informed them of his true situation only recently. Otherwise, they would have made a contact within 24 hours of Thursday's altercation, Lisa explained. Well, I'm pretty sure Mom and Dad are feeling thrilled now that he's exposed. The rest of the girls looked at Luann with annoyance. What? That was sarcasm, not a joke. They totes aren't, and they'd have no idea on how to make up to Lincoln. Plus, they aren't sure about how to help Lynn either, Lenny added. Well, none of us give much of an idea of how to handle the latter, but in that case for the former, Lori then looked at all of her sisters, not counting the ones that saw Lincoln already. Well, none of us gave us the ideas, but of course, of how to handle the latter. But, however, does anyone have any ideas? Yep, me and Luann got chosen a song, and the video is finished. All we gotta do is get Bro to watch it, the musician stated. I'm still working on my poem. It's a little difficult to find the right words right now, Lucy piped up. Lisa brought out a stack of papers. I have completed a list of amount of favors I owe Lincoln in exchange for helping me with my experiments. No matter what the task, I will complete it without question. This includes his schoolwork, even though that would be questionable, seeing as Lincoln doesn't falter in his academics. I've also written a formal letter expressing the sincerest condolences, as well as agreement that should such a situation like this arise again, I will use my logical and rational nature to help disprove any false claims against him. I even took the liberty of making a blood oath. The 4-year-old then showed her siblings a letter and the little blood mark next to her signature. Nothing says is a true binding agreement like that blood pact, Lucy muttered. Lenny then stood silent for a moment before she remembered something. All right, me and Mom got this cool mattress for the bed I made him. It's going to take a few months for it to get here, though. Lisa just shook her head. Preposterous! It doesn't take that long to deliver that piece of bedding. Almost as I suspect, it'll be a few days. But what about you, Lori? Luann asked. Yeah, you gotta really have something wicked for Lincoln, right? Luna chimed in. Lori shifted hesitantly. That's the thing. I really don't have any decent ideas. You girls already have some outstanding thoughts on. I've been floundering a bit. I looked online for NEA savvy stuff. I'm not sure what Lincoln already has or doesn't have. Didn't you check his room? Lana asked. The eldest sibling folded her arms. Lana, I'm pretty sure none of us has been in there since Lincoln left. Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to look. Wouldn't be just right just to search through his stuff while he's still fuming. Plus, we used his stuff without permission many times. It'd be best not to let him think we searched his room after he left. I think we all used each other's things without asking permission at one point or another, Lola pointed out. Luann gave a small glare at the little princess. Like the time you read my diary? Lola gave a nervous laugh in response. Point is, I don't even have the faintest idea on what to do. I mean, I could try helping Lincoln get closer to Ronnie Ann. Lori was cut off when her sister squealing delight. Dude, that's perfect! You could help him get close to his love, the musician said in a suggestive tone. The little tomboy squinted her eyes and thought. Wait, didn't she punch me the last time they kissed? Mm-hmm, Lori agreed. But they made up after I forced Lincoln to come with me on that double date to get him and Ronnie Ann to make up. It was literally killing me and Bobby to pretend being broke up the whole time. But it was worth seeing those two of them kiss. A smile adorned on her features. You know, I heard at school Ronnie Ann asked Lincoln out yesterday, the golf girl stated. Lori gave a low groan. Well, there goes that idea. Lenny squinted her eyes, and her mind came up with something. Ask out? She muttered. The 16-year-old gave a loud gasp when she finally got her thoughts together. Girls, I toast got an idea. Why don't we ask Lincoln out? The rest of them looked at Lenny like she grew a second head. No offense, Lenny, but Lincoln's our brother. He's not the random boy from school, the comedian spoke out. What? Wait? Ew, no, that's not what I meant. I was just saying we could ask Lincoln out to lunch, the fashionist clarified. Ooh, everyone else said an illusion. That could work. It really depends if Lincoln wants to go or not. But to minimize the chances of failure, all of us can't go. I'm still finishing on things on my end regardless, the 4-year-old stated. Same here, Lucy agreed. And since I don't have any ideas, that just leaves Lenny, Luna, and Luann, since 3 of you have your stuff ready, the eldest loud stated. So where would you like to take him? I know he likes Gus's games and grub, but what's the name? Luna tapped her fingers as she tried to refresh her memory. Oh, I know. We could take him to Julian's. That's the new restaurant and arcade place? Luann asked. Yeah, it's just like Gus's, but way bigger. Probably more expensive, too. Well, I still have some cash that I made from tips at parties I attended, the comedian shrugged. And I got some cash from the gigs I did, Luna agreed. Oh, and I got like $200 in savings, Lenny said, making the rest gawk at her. What? I don't spend my money every time I go to the mall. Welp, it's settled. You three will get a shot at Lincoln next. When do you plan on taking him? Lori asked. The free girl teens mulled and fought. Tomorrow was never school day, so they couldn't be out too late. They could wait till the weekend, but they doubt their patience would last long. We could try it tomorrow. Might have to do homework a bit late, but it will be worth it, Luna answered. Same here, Luann agreed, while Lenny nodded. Lily took Lisa's glasses, wanting to see what it was like to wear them. The child prodigy chuckled for a moment. Hopefully, if you three succeed on your endeavor, it may give your parental units the confidence boost that they need to make amends. Well, then let's get this show on the road. Who's going to call him? The comedian asked. Lori gave a small shrug. Well, just let you girls decide on that. Now, for a second order of business, what are we going to do about Lynn? No offense, Lucy, but she does seem to be acting worse than you. None taken. And, to be honest, the way I see it, the only person who could bring Lynn back to her loud, obnoxious self is our brother. Sigh. She had another nightmare last night, and she thinks Lincoln is never going to forgive her, while he makes amends with the rest of us. Lenny became teary-eyed. That's, totes sad. She did say that she wished he was never born, Lola said uneasily. Yeah, but she came to regret it, and now Lynn sees herself as the unforgiven, the musician voiced. I don't think the rest of you know, but Lynn ran into Lincoln yesterday as well, Lucy added, causing the others to gasp in shock. She didn't do anything to her. He just asked her how she was doing. Lynn didn't say much and stay long, though. She doesn't even know why he hadn't heard her. Interesting. Lisa took her glasses from Lily, who was rather hesitant to give them back. Perhaps Lincoln's anger subsides with each time we come closer to the sign of... She grunted for a little. Peace, Lily. Can I have my optical wear, please? Lily giggled before releasing, making Lisa nearly fall off the bed. So if Lincoln continues to accept our apologies, his anger should get to the point where it won't be there anymore? The princess asked. Lisa shook her head. No, it will be still there, but it will diminish to when he is able to forgive Lynn. But Lynn may not forgive herself, Lucy added. Lenny, Luann, and Luna looked at each other in worry. As they stood, it had a total of 3 objectives to complete. If they were going to have a day out with their brother, hope that Lincoln forgives them, to which in would turn give Rita and Lynn Sr. the confidence to plan something of their own, and lastly diminish Lincoln's anger to where it might consider forgiving his sports-loving sister. Well, if we're going to do this, we better get over with it, Luann said in a concerned tone. To decide on who to do call or text Lincoln. The 3 sisters did rock, paper, scissors for it. Lenny fell out first, and she rolled the rock, while the other 2 had paper. But at the end, Luna won, and she rolled the scissors while Luann kept paper. The musician went into her room and grabbed her phone. Taking a deep breath, she scrolled through the contacts and found Lincoln's number. At the Santiago house, Lincoln and Ronnie Ann were busy chatting at busting a gut at some guy who was yelling at the police officer for ended up taking a deck in front of the face in attempt assault. All the while, the man's girlfriend was screaming at the officer, which wasn't really helping on her case. Lincoln's phone vibrated in his pocket for a second, making him fish it out. On the screen, he saw he got a text from Luna. The boy was a bit hesitant to be speaking with Luna, being that still aside from the twins, it was still the first he had heard from them. Lincoln may have assumed they thought they possibly blocked their numbers or didn't have the guts to try and contact him. Still, he was curious to see what his music-loving sister wanted. He opened the text app and read the message. Hi, Lincoln, it's me. How are you doing, bro? I know you're probably still miffed at us for what happened, but it was nice to hear that you forgave the twins. Now, this is going to be a shot in the dark, but me, Luann, and Lenny want to take you out to Jillian's after school tomorrow. You in? Lincoln's eyes grew wide at the mention of that place. He heard a lot of kids at school talking about it, saying it blew Gus's place out of the water by a mile. He secretly wanted to go visit the arcade at Adery, but never had enough money since the power cards are as good as $20 for a decent amount of credits, and the white-haired child usually spent his cash on comics. On one hand, he was a bit on edge about being around three of his older sisters. Lincoln was still considering forgiving Lenny, but Luna, and especially Luann, he was on the fence with them. However, he couldn't pass up a good opportunity like this. His phone gave small pings with each key stroke. Sure, what time are you going to pick me up? All of the girls sat hesitantly around Luna's phone as they waited for Lincoln to respond. A wave of relief washed over them when he accepted. Right after we finish school, name the place and time when we can come and get you. Lincoln mulled for a moment. Aside from Luann, Lenny, and Luna, would have another hour before they finished. You could pick me up and Luann at school once you're finished, he typed. Gotcha, see you tomorrow, was Luna's reply. So you got plans tomorrow? Renolda asked, looking at his phone. Yeah, Luna, Lenny, and Luann want to take me to Jillian's. Wait, did you say Julian's? That place is awesome! Can I come with? Lincoln chuckled nervously. No, sorry, Ronnie Ann, but I think I should just be between me and my sisters. The Hispanic girl shrugged. That's fine. I just thought I'd jump on the bandwagon, but you better promise to take me there at some point. The boy gave a nod. I'll let you know on how it is. Middle of the week was a meek of the week. Wednesdays were a hit or miss. Some were a bit happy knowing that the week was almost over and dealt with, while others are still sulking that they're still dealing with hell and work is going to be another 3 days. But for Lincoln, he was brimming with a mix of uncertainty and anticipation. Uncertain on how this little trip would go out, but filled with excitement to be going with the biggest gaming eatery in Royal Woods. Sure, he may be a bit odds with his sisters, but he could still try and have a good time. The day carried on like usual with Lincoln's friends going home once the bell rang. Lincoln himself sat on one of the benches in front of the doors, idly playing a game on his phone. Some would say Candy Crush and all of the athletics are very addictive, so they wouldn't be wrong. Lincoln had been playing that game for the last 5 minutes, only growing a little frustrated when he got stuck on a hard level. The sound of the front doors opening got his attention for a brief moment, and in those few seconds, he stopped caring much about his game. Luann had just came outside, looking slightly nervous as the two stared at each other for what seemed like minutes. Eventually, the aspiring comedian finally got the courage to sit a few feet from her brother. So, how have things been, Lincoln? Good, I guess, the boy replied, trying to avoid eye contact. Nice weather we're having, right? Kinda hot, but I'm not complaining too much. Sweet, sweet. Luann smiled a little. Nice weather we're having, huh? Who starts with that? She groaned internally. One thing that made Luann practically nervous was that she knew Lincoln remembered the April Fools from last year. How could he not? She put him through the humiliation conga just to get a cheap laugh, all by inviting Ronnie Ann over. This was some invalid, as he made a statement during his rant last Thursday. This was directed at her. Given his time alone, he must have been fuming about it at some point. Since they had some time before their sisters arrived, Luann figured she could at least try to start giving her apologies. The 14-year-old looked at her brother, who was staring back at his phone. Lincoln? His tone felt like it lacked any care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about what I did to you on April Fool's last year. Everything I did all that day was so I could get a good laugh, not realizing how much pain I gave you. It was especially low for me to invite Ronnie Ann over, knowing you leave your safe haven if I could prank you. then expect her to deliver a pie to your face when she got at the house. Lincoln looked up from his phone and stared at the empty space before him. Let me ask you something, Luann. You say you're really sorry now, but that's only because I brought up last Thursday. But if you were really sorry, then why did you force my dad to buy that motel so you could set up your huge prank last April? He looked at her with a small glare. I just want to outdo myself from last year. Plus everyone got revenge on me at the end. Lincoln folded his arms. And yet some of us had to deal with the effects of being pranked by you for weeks. Lucy refused to go to school until the bleach was finally washed out. Lynn had to get checked for any diseases because of that monkey biting her. Lola smelled like trash for days, refused to come out of your room. You're lucky that Lana was only mildly allergic to rhubarb, because I can't remember the last time her face swelled up like that. And as Luna getting stuck, Lori losing her eyebrows, Lenny getting stuck on the motel sign, I guess those could be kind of harmless. But what really had me concerned was Lily's prank. Mom moved her out of the way in time before she get covered in a huge pile of laundry. But I can't help but wonder if that prank was actually meant for Lily. I don't like imagining the huge pile of laundry would do a baby because that's a lot of weight if Mom got stuck in it. But I do. Luann felt guilty of what was mentioned, but she rather felt appalled what Lincoln was insinuating, that she could have buried Lily underneath that massive pile of clothes. Look, Lincoln, I may go a bit crazy on April Fool's Day. I admit that. But I'm not a monster. I knew that my mom would see a little rattle to prevent Lily from moving it. That prank was meant for her. All I did was replace Lily with a monkey. She spoke defiantly. Lincoln squinted his eyes. Speaking of revenge, what were your words after we trapped you in that suit? I believe you said you were going to go easy on us, and since that was the last one you intended to prank, what did you have planned on the roof? Luann was hesitant to answer. You'd get covered in tar and launched into a pile of feathers just across the street by a catapult. The boy bit his lower lips. And if I ended up landing on the street or ended up hitting Vanzilla? Luann would have stayed quiet, not wanting to answer that. She didn't want to imagine Lincoln getting fractured bones or having something cut up from impacting glass windows of the van. Or worse, he ended up on the street and got hit by a passing car. The comedian shook her head to try and get rid of herself such thoughts. I gotta use the restroom. Her voice was breaking as she spoke. Lincoln watched Luann rush back to the school. It didn't take her long to find the bathroom, where she was just around the corner from the entrance. The white-haired boy looked around the ground in anger for a few moments, before his look softened a bit. The feeling of guilt swelled in his stomach as he tried to look back at the double doors. He knew Luann was crying to herself in the bathroom. He saw tears forming in her eyes before she abruptly left. Lincoln didn't even mean to make her cry, but he wanted to at least let her know that he was upset about the crazy pranking habits. Luann wasn't innocent by any means, but if Lincoln was miffed by the whole situation that he and his family were in, he still hated to see any of his sisters crying, especially if it was the one that caused it. A honking sound was heard before Lincoln heard the sound of tires screeching. Looking to his right, Vanzilla was parked next to the sidewalk. The driver rolled down the window to reveal Luna. Hey, Lincoln! Lenny was in the front passenger seat. Lincoln then grabbed his bag and walked over to the van. Hi, Luna. The musician gave a frown, seeing her brother look sad. What's wrong, love? Well, I'll tell you guys when we get to Julian's. He then walked 2 feet, before opening the passenger doors. Wait, I thought Lenny would be driving. Dad said Luna had to drive because, well, I'm not good with cars yet, Lenny replied nervously. A few moments later, Luann came out. Noticing the van, she grabbed her stuff from the bench and just walked to the car. Just as Lincoln thought, her eyes were a tad bit red. This didn't go unnoticed with the other girls, giving small frowns as the 14-year-old got in. She sat further in the back, wanting to be alone by herself. Whenever Lincoln and Luann talked, clearly put in a damping mood on this whole trip. Luna and Lenny just hoped that it would pick back up once they reached their destination. When they got to Julian's, it was indeed everything Lincoln heard about. Being a standalone eatery, it had enough room to expand out to be built into a commoded with a wide range of activities, from the usual arcade to a bowling alley. Lincoln was like a kid at a candy store after all. After getting the power cards, the lads tried out the majority of the games, which Lenny actually won. However, Lincoln couldn't help but notice that Luann wasn't really into festivals. She was still a bit gloomy. About our discussion earlier, eventually, the group got a bit hungry, so they sat on one of the high tables in the restaurant's portion of the place. Luann claimed that you needed to use the bathroom again, to which the other two sisters felt it was a good time to ask once the comedian left. "Bro, why is Luann acting like she lost Mr. Coconuts?" Luna asked. Lincoln rubbed his arm. "We talked about Luann's last prank on April Fool's Day shenanigans. She apologized for making me leave for the safety of my room by inviting Ronnie Ann over, but I blew up on her a little. I brought up last April Fool's Day and how the rest of us were rather hurt or had to deal with some side effects that day." He stared at the porcelain table. "I think I made her feel like she was a complete monster because of it." Luna and Lenny stared at their brother for a moment. While it was true that Luann intended to go overboard, they would never think to make us such a manic. Luna then looked her phone out of her bag and scrolled through the screen. She tapped it twice and a video popped up. "Hey bro, I want you to watch this. I'm not sure if it'll be enough to earn your forgiveness, but I hope you like it. Me and Luann worked on it." She handed it to Lincoln her phone as well as a pair of earbuds to cancel out any noise generated by people around them. Lincoln glanced around the phone questioningly, popped the earbuds in. Hitting the play button, the video started with the recording of Luna sitting on Luann's bunk, setting the strings on the acoustic guitar. "Lincoln, I know you're still very upset at us, but especially since we heard you came close to calling the cops. Words can't express how me and Luann felt, how you were on the highway to hell. We didn't even realize it until it was too late. It tore us up in here." She then pointed at her heart. "But we are really thankful you give us a chance to tell you how sorry we are. So I figure what better way than to go through this with this song?" Luna then finished, fiddling with the guitar and then setting it properly. "Now enjoy the show, bro." Luann picked up the photos. Luna's fingers strummed through the guitar smoothly before a beat could be heard to go with it. Lincoln couldn't put his finger on the song. He wasn't familiar with the band, but after hearing a few of the lyrics, the boy realized that Luna was singing "If Only for Now" by Pop Evil. Her angelic voice made it even sweeter to his ears. As Luna was singing, a slideshow of pictures began to play. The first picture showed Luna holding a baby Lincoln, and she even tickled him. Another was a picture taken when Luann was trying to feed the aforementioned infant. Keyword trying. Lincoln kept making a mess, and him along with Luann in his baby seat was filthy. However, Luann didn't mind it and just laughed with her brother. In the next photo, the 5-year-old Luann was trying to entertain her brother by performing a juggling act. At the time, it was one of Luann's first attempts at a circus act when the picture was snapped. First of the bowling pins had smacked Luann in the head, causing the 2-year-old Lincoln to giggle. Then yet another picture was shown where Lincoln, Luna, and Luann were at the trip to the water park. The white-haired child remembered that day, only being 5 years old. Lincoln then kept trying to wade in deeper parts of the pool, only to get put back into the shallow by one of his parents. He had been rather jealous that his older sisters were allowed to go thread a neck deeper water, while it came up to his stomach on the end. So Rita and Lynn Sr. weren't looking. He snuck into the deeper part, which it soon became too deep for his liking. When Lincoln started to drown, which prompted the reaction of a lifeguard, but before the official could jump in, Luna and Luann, who were closer, came in and saved him. Lincoln then got grounded afterwards, but thankful for his sisters. Luann even stayed behind to cheer him up as he started crying. At the point of the video, began to replay recorded family videos. Some of these clips have been taken without any of the siblings know about it, to which it caused Luann and Luna to question their parents a few things. Their first video had been recorded just a couple of years ago. No dialogue was heard, as it had been cut out while Luna was singing, and Luann was applying the appendage bandages on Lincoln, who had a few bruises on him. The boy recalled his memory easily, though. He was in the 3rd grade at the time Luann was in 6th. Lincoln had a bit of a bullying problem, which he hadn't told any of his sisters about. Unfortunately for the bully, Luann witnessed one day when walking home from school and made sure the boy wouldn't be bothering her anymore. The next video was actually set up with a hidden camera. Luann and Lincoln had set up a classic pail of water prank outside of Lori and Lenny's room. Lori was still inside, but soon the sounds of feet shuffling can be heard. Seconds later, the door opened, followed by a bucket of water pouring down on the blonde. Lincoln couldn't hear Lori screaming, but he could still laugh anyway. Reading her lips, he could tell the oldest loud shouted Luann's name. And, of course, the camera panned back to Lincoln and Luann, who were laughing in secret. That wasn't until Lori found out where they were hiding. The camera then shook around because the two kids were running away from the arranged teenager.